Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakahakudash, on the send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I send much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing word and sincerity and truth. This is Brother Ariala. And this will be the fifth part of the spiritual seeds of greatness. This will be entitled Purpose, as you brothers can see, Purpose. And, we did a previous spiritual seed of greatness on imagination and just having a vision for the kingdom. And when we hear that word purpose, definitely that can bring that same thing to mind. But when I want to talk about purpose, I want to talk about that driving force of why you do what you do. When you do have a vision for the kingdom, when you do want to be with the Lord, you want to be saved. That there's a driving purpose in your life, and that's where you start to really put things in place to actually make it an achievable goal. And so I want to talk about that, within our day-to-day walk. I like to talk about practicality and, just some points for being here and why we're here and making sure that we are taking responsibility as individual men within the ministry to actually say, hey, I am a part of something. I am, in my day-to-day life, creating the habits necessary that the Bible has laid out for me to be within the ministry and win. And so, first thing I want to read here concerning purpose is, there's 5 points that I want to make, for 4 or 5 points. The first one is, have you counted the cost? For the young brothers and even the sisters that are on the other side watching these and learning from these videos, for young men within the camps, and maybe even some brothers that have been here for a while, have you actually counted the cost? Have you actually considered that the Most High said this is something that you're putting your life up for? This is something that you're putting as a chief priority in your life, and and understand that this life that you live is just a side hustle compared to really what you want to do, which is be in the kingdom. Have you counted that cost? Have you counted the cost of the loss of outside relationships and building within the relationships in this ministry? Have you counted the cost of putting away some of the things that you might have desired in the world and putting on the elect and focusing on this? Have you counted that cost? When you read here in the book of Luke, it's an exclamation towards disciples. And it says in Luke 14:25, it says, "And there were great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple." Okay, so all of these things you're putting away. You're putting away your legacy. You're putting away with, that intention in life here to follow Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Have you considered that? Verse 27 says, "And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he hath sufficient to finish it?" Right? Have you considered, man, my wife's situation, my kid's situation, my job situation, this situation, I'm, when I decide to come into this ministry, I'm putting myself behind enemy lines. I have to have a mindset of losing those things so that I can focus on the ministry. So I can make sure that the ministry remains a priority in my life, the chief priority in my life. Because these people might not agree with that. My job might not agree with that. I've lost a job, when people saw the videos of me preaching. Other brothers have lost jobs. Other brothers have lost marriages. Children turned their backs against them. Relationships torn because of the belief in the confession of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua as the power of the universe and us being the Israelites. Lost many things. Now we're under the threat of what? Imprisonment, being called a terrorist. You have people calling us rapists and bashing who we are in public. Have you counted that cost? Verse 29 says, "Least happily after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying this man began to build and was not able to finish. You see? And that's what happens when you start within this truth. You haven't counted the cost of maybe the loss and strain of relationships and situations. And now, oh no, you want to turn back. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't know, being a part of the truth was gonna require all of this. And so those very same people that saw you, kind of move towards the ministry with such fervency, now you're drawing back. Now they're saying, "Oh, I thought you was big top notch Israelite, man. You have fringes on your Jordans." Make sure for one of the first keys of the seeds of greatness within purpose is understanding, why are you here? What are you actually becoming a part of? What is the mission? And when we're looking at that, leads into the next thing. When you see the disciples, and when Lord went back up to sit on the right hand side of the Heavenly Father, and it was up to the disciples who turned apostles to go and spread the word across the world, the second thing that they did, because they understood they were under the threat of being in prison, right? When you read here in Acts 4, it says, "And as they spake unto the people, the priests and the captains of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people and preached through Yahushua the resurrection from the dead. And they laid hands on them and put them in hold until the next day, for it was now eventide." Right? Right? And so, but John and Peter, they understood that. They had already counted the cost. Right? Skipping down to verse 13, it says, "Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua. And beholding the man which was healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it. But when they had commanded them to go aside out of the council, they conferred among themselves." So they're talking about Peter and John. I'm not going to go into all of that. What I want to get into is the mindset of, okay, we have this mission. We understand. We counted the cost that people are going to come against us. We want to spread this gospel. What do you do now? When you get down into the to the back end of this, and the ministry starts to grow, and what happens is you have to start to get organized. You have to start getting your life together so you can actually go out there and minister. Go out there and focus on the truth. Acts 4:32 says, "And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things common." Do you have that mindset? Right? "And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Yahushua, and great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked. For as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. And Joses, who by the apostles was surnamed Barnabas, which is, being interpreted, the son of consolation, a Levite of the country of Cyprus, having land, sold it, and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet." What happened? What is happening? They are beginning to get their resources together so that they could go out and make sure that they could spread this ministry. Now, are we in different times? Yes. Is the situation different? Yes. Do brothers just have lands to go sell necessarily like that? No. But we do all have a duty within this ministry to be able to come to the table with something. All right. And I always tell brothers this: you are in this truth, you're learning all this stuff, you are more than capable with getting a job or getting yourself into a situation to where you can tithe, you can have time for the ministry. Okay. So there's two things that you're putting together: your time and your resources. You want your time and your resources, which is the money you make or whatever skills you bring, to put the truth as a priority. We have all things together, all things common, right? But if you refuse to get a job, you half-ass doing this, you spending 112 hours a week making $9 an hour at a warehouse job that's beating you down. You don't make camp. You're not ever at class. You're not ever attentive. You ain't got time for the ministry. You need to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to where you can organize and prioritize your purpose. Okay? You want to be able to organize and prioritize your purpose. That's what they began to do when they began to start this apostleship and they start to go and be sent forth. They had to get organized. Okay, we got this money. Okay, you go here. Okay, you go travel there. You go teach these people. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. So when we read and we go to and we see them gathering everything together, we know Acts 5 talks about Ananias and Sapphira. When you go to Acts 6, it says, in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them and said, it is not reason that we should leave the word of the Most High and serve tables. Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report, full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. Within your camps, within what we got going on, we make sure we tie towards the camp. We make sure that we have ample resources that brothers can be taken care of. Why? So you can focus on the word of the Most High. You're not focused on putting out fires all the time. And if you are the fire to be put out all the time, you need to snap into a Slim Jim. You need to get your shit together. Because you're distracting from the word going out when brothers always having to counsel and figure out your situation and help you out every week. Man, I just need $50, I just need $25 gas money. I mean, get your shit together, man. Okay? Oh, I arguing with my mom, my baby mamas. I'm arguing with this person. Fighting. Get your shit together, man. Get your stuff organized so you can put the ministry, so you can put your purpose as a priority. Okay? Budget your time, budget your resources. If you need to ask someone, one of the officers in your camp, how to go about doing that, if you need to counsel with somebody and go through maybe a life situation that's bothering you, the first thing, ignoring it is not going to help. Address the problems in your life. Get a game plan. Get it out of the way so you can focus on the ministry. Okay? Next point is, once you get everything organized, there's a game plan that the Most High has for the men that's in the truth. It's the New Testament. When you go and read the New Testament, he's addressing the churches and how they function. So we can read these letters that he's writing to the churches and take out of it what we need to do. We are the extension of those ancient churches today. We are the churches. We are those, when you read from Acts all the way up, we're going through that same process of spreading this ministry. So take the doctrine, take that instruction and apply it. Here in 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, in the 12th verse, it's talking about conduct, right? How we should be. Start to put these things into practice in your daily life. Declare these things. Get with the Most High's program. 1 Thessalonians 5:12 says, and we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace amongst yourselves. So listen to your elders. Pay attention. Lock in. Right? 14. Now we exhort you, brethren. Warn them that are unruly. Comfort the feeble-minded. Support the weak. Be patient towards all men. Right? That's the purpose of these spiritual seeds of greatness. It's to actually literally address verse 14. Verse 15 says, see that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore. Be thankful that you're a part of something that's great. Be thankful that you're a part of something that's going to change the world. Rejoice evermore. Verse 17. Pray without ceasing. Talk to Yahweh Shem Yahushua and be specific. Beg for what you need and be specific. Pray without ceasing and be specific. Ask the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, I need this. so I can give more glory, so I can serve you more. Whatever this is for you, so I can serve you more, so I can pour more into this. Okay? And you know, it talks about in the book of James about basically asking amiss. James 4:2 says, ye lust and ye have not, ye kill and desire to have, ye cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. It says that you ask amiss. You know, it's just there's no direction to it. All right, it's just all over the place, miserable, improperly, wrongly. Right? You ask the Most High, and there's a conceited selfishness within what you're asking for. It's not even anything that's edifying. We have to be mindful of that energy. We have to be mindful of that mindset. We have to check ourselves. Okay? The Most High is requiring of us to align ourselves with a specific way. All right? So you ask the Most High and be specific of what you need. Pray without ceasing, so that you can be a part of an edifying body. Verse 18 says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushua concerning you. Quench not the spirit. All right? Despise not prophesying. Prove all things. Hold fast to that which is good. Abstain from all appearance of evil. Okay? And in the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray the Most High, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? So get in where you fit into the framework, study the ministry, study what Paul was speaking to the churches as the functions of the body. All right? Be diligent within your purpose. When you have a purpose, you get into it. You get specific about it. You really get into, like, man, you want it to work. So you study it. Study the letters to the churches and understand how things ebb and flow amongst a body or a group. Because when you are working within a body or group, what happens when you start to have a cohesive unit? What happens when multiple people have counted the cost? They got their time and their resources together so that they can focus on it. They're studying it. They're studying the matter or the duty that's necessary, and they get on one accord. What happens? What happens? The scripture says in Matthew 18:20, for where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. So what happens is there's exponential growth. Things move faster and smoother and with more cohesiveness. The purpose begins to compound on itself. When you have multiple people in that mindset and putting it together, that's why when you, for you brothers that have not been around the apostles and elders, I remember when we first met them. And I'm talking about not just Apostle Har, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakab, Apostle Ramla. I'm talking about all the elders in New York. They moved in such a way that was such a cohesive unit. You could feel it. Like it was not even spoken. You could feel how well they worked together. Because you could tell that they were serious and they've been doing it for a long time. Everybody knew what they were supposed to do. They knew their roles. They knew how to help each other. They knew how to build with each other. It was just like, dang. We came back to Dallas like, man, we got to get our shit together. Cool. It was a whole nother level. It was a whole nother experience of how to work in this body as a group. And that's what you want. That's what you want to build within the church that you're at. But it's going to take a few things first. Counting the cost. getting organized with your time and your resources and making sure that you're putting it towards the ministry first, and you have a mindset for that, whether it's your house, whether it's your money, whether it's skill sets that you bring to the table. Why? That puts fires out so everybody can focus on the word. Knowing the program. you got to take time to learn the program of the business of the ministry. And now, as you come and you associate yourself, you unify yourself with like-minded men, the thing starts to become an engine. And the purpose starts to move forward with power. Right? In the book of Sirach, the 25th chapter, the first verse says, "In three things I was beautified, and I stood up beautiful both for the Most High and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and wife that agree together." These things are extremely important. But the main thing I want to talk about is the unity of brother and the love of neighbors. Okay? As far as the working with his men, don't get me wrong, having a man and a wife agreeing is extremely powerful when a woman knows how to support her man and everything like that. But for the sake of this ministry, the temple is with men, and so that unity, there's exponential spiritual growth when men are on one accord. Okay? So that's a part of the seeds of greatness, is getting into that. Okay? Next point I want to make is, are your habits, you know what you're doing, we learn all this stuff, is your day-to-day habits, I'm talking about your day-to-day habits. We have the long-term vision of the kingdom, so you got to break that thing down into pieces. You got to break that down into, okay, day-to-day habits. You want your day-to-day habits to center around your purpose. You want to have a schedule of things and getting your calendar together to where you know that you're pouring into yourself. Elder Yashawamba, a couple weeks ago, he felt like things were getting kind of lackadaisical. He said, hey, we're going back to reading assignments. And brothers that's been in here 10, 15 years, we're going back to reading assignments. We're going to make sure that we have daily habits that keep our mind on the ministry, that keep our mind on our purpose. So you're intentionally reading, listening, and associating and communicating with people that are in the ministry. You're intentionally reading something in the scriptures and learning. You're listening to videos and you're tuning into the lessons. I highly suggest the men that are in particular camps, listen to your camp head. That should be a part of your weekly routine, is listening to your camp head's videos. I watch Yashawamba's videos. That's the leader of the Dallas group, so I can be in one accord with him. Okay, then of course you're gonna listen to the apostles and elders. Okay, these are the people that are the visionaries for the whole group. The Most High is pouring into them. Okay, and then of course brothers have been trained up and taught in the word, and so you click on any Great Millstone video, you're gonna come up on a level. Okay, and then are you reclusive? Are you all off on doing something away from everybody else? That's something that you want to be mindful of. That's something that you want to consider, because those three things is going to keep you within your purpose. It's going to keep you within keeping a mindset of, okay, this is what's the most important thing. Kingdom of heaven, kingdom of heaven, kingdom of heaven. Okay, so here in 1 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, and the 24th verse, it says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that you may obtain." Are you running that you may obtain the prize? Are you making sure that you're putting your best foot forward? We all have to consider this and be self-aware. We all go up and have our issues, right? And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things, that they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible, right? I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Right? So you're reading the gospel, you're listening, you're associating, and it's centering you around what? Winning in a particular way. The Most High has a particular way that the elect are going to move, and he wrote it down. So we're not fighting as one that beateth the air. We know the game plan. We know we're not going as uncertainly. right? Verse 27 says, "But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway." So we're not winging it. We're not just winging it. We have systems put in place in order to achieve the goal, right? And that leads to the last point. You have to, when you have purpose, when we're fighting for our purpose, we still have to maintain proper perspective. We have to maintain proper perspective so we don't get too far over this way or too far over that way. We know how to be a base. We know how to abound. We know, we go through all of these things. But the mindset, when you read here in Philippians 3, let's go to 12. It says, "Not as though I had already obtained," right? Either were already perfect, but I follow after it, that I may apprehend that which also I am apprehended of Hamashiach Yahushua. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushua. Okay? All right? So we're pressing toward the mark. There's a day by day pressing towards that mark. The perfection is in the process. The perfection is in you diligently, you see a staircase, you want to get to the top of the staircase. If you just staring at the top of the staircase, very likely you're going to trip on the step that's right next in front of you. Understand that these steps is going to take you to the top, but focus on the next step. And then you keep stepping, you keep stepping, you keep stepping, you keep stepping, you keep stepping. Eventually, you're going to look down and realize, whoa, we're at the top of the staircase. That's crazy. Okay? The perfection is in the process, right? It's not that you have apprehended. You know that every single day, there's a 1% better, getting a little bit better. Verse 15 says, "Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing." There goes that unity again. Okay? So, we're every single day going through that process of making sure that we're building closer towards that ultimate, achievement. We have that purpose that's driving us to become better ministers, to become better brothers, to, better men of the Lord. This is the school of the prophets. Great Millstone is the school of the prophets. These are the company of prophets. Okay? And so there's a whole different energy versus some type of, life of the rich and famous Israelite lifestyle that the other groups are trying to create. They're trying to create these Israelite communities in Babylon. We're not doing that. This is a whole different mission when you cross over into Great Millstone. This is the school of the prophets. Understand your purpose. Understand why you're here. We talked about wisdom. We talked about being apt. Learning, what are you apt at? What gift has the Most High given you to bring to the table? Understand that strength. Count the cost. Get organized. Okay? Know the program of the churches. Get unified. Okay? Get unified. And understand that it's a progressive process. Know your day-to-day goals that's going to get you to the ultimate end. All right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying, brought something to the table for somebody, out there to edify somebody, man. Once again, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh, Shabbat, Hashem, Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you. I'm out there pushing the words of sincerity and truth, man. Let's keep it pushing. Shalom.